Welcome to Research Circle. First of all, thanks for uh, 5K subscribers. Thanks all the subscribers who have been with us. Uh, we have reached this goal within a short span, and we hope that we'll try to provide the free webinars, free content, as many as possible. So please be with us. So today's topic for discussion is 5 ways to fund your PhD degree. Now, getting a university degree by no means guarantees that you will find a decent job. Most people still think of it as a best way to enter into their career. It is no surprise, thanks to the internet, we can access valuable information on all the subjects we can think, but no one of us has a mental discipline through all the often intimidating material on their own. So unfortunately, as much as we value individualism, sometimes it is easier to force yourself to study when there's an exam waiting for you behind the corner than if you were to set the goals for yourself. However, even if you decide that you want to get a PhD, there might be another issues, and particularly in that is money. Okay, so here is the main issue that everyone will face while proceeding there. So in the particular video, we will guide through some options that might help you in getting your PhD funding. So now the first option here comes the university funding. Now university funding, as according to experts, online PhD degrees, it really depends on the field and prestige of your institution, but significant number of students don't have to worry about the funding for their PhD degree as university provides the necessary money. That's especially in the case if your subject matters to your thesis is deemed interested and potentially valuable. What we need to understand here, our subject should matter your thesis, and it will be deemed interesting and potentially valuable to your university. So it should be in the favor of your university only. So okay, so it is possible most universities will attempt to help their students to get the PhD degree without worrying too much about the money. Though even if there are no grants available, there are other options you should consider, and in that particular other options we'll see the other grants as well. Here comes the other grants, like your research should seems promising to all the types of organizations through your organization, including the organizations like NGO. Okay, so first one comes here is NGO. Other universities might help you. Okay, other universities might help you to get through their PhD to be funded with the help of federal programs. Okay, so even though your institution might not be able to provide the necessary funding, they might lend you helping hands when it comes to finding an external entity that would help you focus solely on your project without having worry about the money. Okay, so here comes the other grants. Now the next one is work at your institution. So this is another interesting option here. Most universities offers postgraduate students positions such as a teaching assistant. Here comes the term as a teaching assistant. The next one is a research assistance. So making it possible for them to earn enough money so that they can continue working on their thesis. Particularly, the work doesn't take up too much of students' time. Usually, postgraduate students work half-time job at the universities. At the same time, they can gain teaching experience, which might come handy if they decide to continue working at their universities later on. So the next one comes here, find a job outside the university. Now, if you don't find the job, particularly in your university, so you can get the job in the other universities as well. You could always consider finding a part-time job for your PhD thesis. It's not a ideal solution as you spend a lot of time engaged in the activities unrelated in any way to your university you pursued. But at the same time, after a day's work, your mind would be far from fresh. Focusing on your PhD thesis would be much more difficult. However, sometimes it might be the only options, especially if your subject matter isn't a part of science, technology, engineering. If your subjects excluded that part, that is science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. So, in that particular case, you can choose this option. And next one comes here students loan. Those who have alternative funding options, who don't have alternative funding options, but at the same time you don't want to take up any jobs outside of the universities, might consider taking out a student loan. It should be only the last resort. Okay, you must remember this, that it should be a last resort for you, as most universities do provide funding for their students. A student loan might seems like an easy way for you in that particular situation, but remember that eventually you will have to pay it back. So theoretically, a student loan would be a better choice if you're pursuing degree in the field that is likely to land you a well planning job. But the truth is, usually it would mean that getting a grant for your research could be an issue. Now we are at the last phase of our video. That last but not the least, you have to think that is pursuing a PhD degree worth it? Okay, now you are thinking about all the money that will be needed for your PhD program, but you have to think simultaneously that is pursuing a PhD degree worth it? Because many people argue whether a PhD degree is really worth if you don't intend to become a professor one day. It really depends on the field of study. Although it is true that you can find all the sorts of guides or even paid courses on the internet, they might not be enough. If you're interested in IT, perhaps you would like to do the study, the subjects of influencer marketing, then a great majority of knowledge that would be required to find a decent job would be acquired online. However, it doesn't mean that you benefit from pursuing, for example, computer science degree. On the other hand, if you would like to become a vet or a doctor, PhD degree would be necessary, as your potential employers wouldn't risk hiring someone without being perfectly sure that they have the skill. That is a PhD degree in short. So, in the conclusion part, we can say that though there is a much that could be improved about the higher education system, it doesn't mean that getting a PhD degree is not an excellent way to acquire the depth knowledge of your subject of choice. Unfortunately, many young people will think twice before pursuing postgraduate studies, as it is usually involves paying with a lot of money. Okay, so in that case, particularly, many of the students avoid that. So it doesn't mean that there is no solution to this issue. In most cases, the student won't have to find the jobs outside the university. A lot of institutions offer grant, but even if that's out the question, there are other ways that we have already discussed in this video to get your PhD funding. We hope that after watching this particular video, you are now one step closer to pursuing your career of dream. So at last, thank you so much for your patience, and we'll try to provide more informative videos like this. Before we end, please like and do subscribe to our Research Circle channel if you don't have yet, and please share this video so that others can get the same information as you are. So thank you so much.